Hello everyone, this is Hoda Ganji. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use a set of points to create a vertical surface. So let's go to Vector, bring a point, construct point, and let's also bring one series. So we're going to have more than one point. So let's see where the point is. For now, it's located over there. If I connect a set of series to like Y, it's going to create a set of points on the y-axis for me. If I bring another series and maybe assign it to the z-coordinate, it's going to create a new set of points. But if I want to go with the maximum points possible, I need to graft either z or y, so it's going to give me a grid. Now I can work with this grid size, so it's going to fit exactly in this area. So let's start by the start point. The start point, instead of 0, it actually has to be -5. So I want to assign -5 to the start point on the y direction. If I want to put -5, I can say 0 minus 5, and it's going to put -5 for me. That goes to my start point. I would not be as precise as millimeters, so I want to change this to 2 decimal places, so it's going to only go with centimeters. So that's getting better. On this side, I actually need to take care of the number to match it here. On the z direction, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see what happens if I assign 5 to the number. So that's good. On this other side, you should go with like 17 or 15. We're going to check. How about I assign 17 to the count on the y direction? How about I go with 18? So 18 is going to be there, 17 is going to be there. If I want it to fit exactly over there, I can get a quick dimension, or I might already have a set of dimension here. So yeah, it's 16.5 from the inside of this wall to the inside on that part. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Let's get back here. I know that is 16.5. I want to change the step size maybe to 0.5. Assign it to the step size here, and now if I increase this number on 34, it's going to cover that span for me. Okay, I can assign the same step size to the z as well if you want, but in that case we need to increase this number to 10, or to actually 9. Now, next thing I want to do is that I want to actually move these points a little bit to left and right, so it's going to be more interesting. So how about I group these items as my grid. I want to bring one scribble, name it as grid. So this is a group. Next thing I want to do is that I want to move the points, so the outcome goes to move. Point goes to geometry. How do I want to move it? I actually want to move it in the x direction. You see by default it's moving in the z direction, so I want to bring one unit x. Another thing I want to do is that I want to flat this, because now you see there is a dashed line. It means that we have a list within a list. I want to flatten them so all the items are in one list. Now if I hide the first set of points, you see that the second set of points has moved in the x direction by a unit factor of 1. If I assign like 0.5, it's gonna move them by 0.5. Now what I want to do is that I want to randomly move them back and forth, right? So instead of one number, I want to assign a set of numbers to my x. I want to bring random. How many random numbers do I need? As many as I have the points. So the length of that list for the point goes to the list here, and this number goes to number. Now I have a set of 306 random numbers. That's the same number that we have here, of course. Now, if I assign this to my factor, it's going to randomly move them back and forth. Now, for the range of the random numbers, instead of 0 and 1, I can assign a different number if I want. So you see, by default, this is set to 0 to 1. If I bring a panel here and assign, for instance, 0 and 0.5, and assign this panel to the range, instead of 0 and 1, the numbers are going to be within the range of 0 and 0.5, right? So how about I assign negative 0.3, because the thickness of this wall is 0.3, so I need to assign negative 0.3, and let's say maybe it can go inside a little bit, so I'm going to go with 0.2. So the difference in the x direction would be 0.5. So let's say okay. Now some points are closer to the exterior surface, some to the interior surface. First, let me make a group here. You notice that we use the same panel item to assign a range of number to the randomize icon. So I want to go with scribble, type random. Okay, these are a group. Now from the moved points, I actually want to create a surface. So how about I type surface, and then you see that we have the option to create surface from points, right? So you notice that we had a flat set of points at the beginning. If I connect that to my points, it's still waiting for me to assign a U count. For the U value to create a surface, I want to assign the same number that we assigned to the Z. Is going to be the U count here, so 9 goes to U. Now you see that there is a surface over there, right? So it's the same thing with the moved geometry. Let me hide this and then unhide this. And now I want to assign the moved set of points to the points. So now you see this time the surface is actually going back and forth. If I hide the points, you can just see the surface here. So it's going to be more like a flexible curved surface, or maybe you want to create a set of points out of this. We can do that too. First, how about I group these items as well. I want to bring one scribble, and I want to name this as surface from point. So let me group these items. That's all good. Next thing I want to do is that I want to actually create a set of maybe triangular panels out of this surface, right? And that's easily doable through Lunchbox. How about I go with like triangular panels A, we can try B and C, see which one works better. Now this accepts surface, so surface goes to surface. As soon as you do that, if I hide this, you see that we actually have kind of a set of triangular panels that go back and forth. Another thing I need to do is to just move that wall a little bit inside, so there is no overlap between that interior wall and the facade, right? And you can also play with different things here. For instance, we can bring triangular B, see if that works better. Or you can bring triangular C, connect this to this, and see if this works better. Maybe I can go with the same one that I had at the beginning, triangular A. You can also bring and use other icons. For instance, you can go with the diamond panels, and you can go with like quad panels or random quad panels. like this, or quad panels, or even hexagon panels. Now I want to go with what I had here. Let me enable it, and preview is on. That's good. You can also work with the values for U and V divisions. By default, each is set to 10. So maybe on the V division, which is probably the height, how about I go with number 5 instead of 10? So that goes to here. Or actually, this needs to go to my U. U represents the Z here. Now you see that it's actually kind of getting a little bit better in size. We can try different values in each direction to see which one will give you a better pattern, right? If you want to change this pattern, you see under random, let's say if you change the phase of the randomization, let's say if I want to assign a different number, each time it's gonna move the points back and forth in a different pattern, so you can go with whichever you like. So maybe something like this. I want to actually ungroup this so I can include the seed in the group. Now I want to actually bring one more scribble and name it as surface. This is a group, these items. And finally, what I want to do is that I want to create frames and panels out of them. So how about bring one panel frame? Panels can go to panels, and now you see that if I hide this, there is kind of a 50-50% ratio here because the scale factor is set to 50 or 0.5. If I go with like 0.8 or 0.9, the amount of panels is gonna be larger, so the ratio is gonna be for the panel frame. For the frames, we can also use solid union. If I connect panel frame to the B-reps, you see that it's gonna actually put all of them in one single geometry, one open B-rep, instead of like 100 geometry. Last icon, I want to go with a scribble, and I want to name this as panels and frames. These 4 icons can be a group, and I want to bake this geometry into one of my facade layers, frame alternative 2, group them, yes please, okay. And I want to bake the panels using bake into the panels, alternative 2, yes, okay. Now I want to close this file. Let's go here. I want to grab this set of geometry, the frames, and I want to use offset surface to make them a little bit thicker. Maybe by 0.3. I can flip also, it's going to be towards outside. Now you see there is a thickness here. Feel free to assign materials to the frames. I want to assign the same aluminum that we had, and to the panels I want to assign glass. Let's go to the camera. I want to go to rendered. So this is how we see this from outside, and this is how we see this from inside. We created other options in the previous videos. One of them is this. And the other 2 options are actually here. This is another option that we have. And this is another option.